Right. Let's start off with Bitcoin dominance because it's my favorite chart for telling us where we are in this big scheme of things. And I guess if I am going to be sharing Bitcoin dominance, I must also be sharing my Brave browser. Hello, Brave. Oh, I see. There we go. All right. Bitcoin dominance. What's going on now?
Can you enlarge your screen?
Thank you. Yep. There we are. Oh, you know what? Actually, here's gold. We've been actually rising in gold for a bit here. I was watching the chart or on my phone, the price, and I thought for a second that we hit an all-time high, but I was like, no. It's 43.50 that we got to get up to, 43.80 rather. And it was at 42.50 and I was like, oh, new highs. But I forgot. But it is rising. It is rising quite progressively, swiftly, going back up towards that all-time high. Bitcoin dominance is consolidating beyond the trend line. So it may very well be the end of that Bitcoin dominance and coming into that altcoin season. Nothing's decisive though. Like it's literally hovering right back and forth on top of that yellow line. 60%. For Bitcoin in accordance to gold, you can see that it is getting cheaper to buy Bitcoin. Even though Bitcoin prices are going up, gold is going up faster. On the silver charts, we just about tagged that all-time high. How short were we? So the last,
actually, about $1 short.
Was it $1 short? Yeah. Let's see what the US says here. This is a high 54.46. This high is 54.39. Oof, look at that. 7 cents US short of that all-time high. So what happens at this point? Well, this is now called a double top. Double tops are not too much to be worried about in technical analysis. Could very well come back down. If you notice, when we broke out of this consolidation range that we've been playing around in for the last couple of weeks, this consolidation range broke out and we never retested it. So it could very well come back, find support off of the previous resistance around 49.33 before making its next impulse. Silver, though, well, look at that, eh? When was it, Audrey, that was on Saturday when we closed at 50.45? It's already gone up 5%. Wild. Yep, so gold, similar pattern there. All right, Japanese markets, they've been consolidating ever since the previous high on November 4th. So, and I don't see there being a difference in this pattern that we've been seeing since the summer. It's just going to keep on doing this until, of course, the fraud is up and everything goes away. Same thing with the US 30. It's amazing to me just how much, yeah, it's amazing to me how much this is accumulated. That's a lot of accumulation. The last time it accumulated from a crash, the most it really accumulated was, that's 46%. Right now we're sitting at 20. Is that right? No, is that a recovery? No, yeah, that's accumulation. That was after COVID. Oh, yeah, okay. So after COVID, when they just pumped the entire economy, that brought it up 50% in a period of 252 days. Trading days, which is just over a year. Right now, we are struggling getting above this line here, I would say. Like, yes, we are up 18% from the previous high. And this one doesn't have a triple top pattern, but it does have these two sinkholes. We don't have the two sinkholes on US 30, just the one. But in the Japanese markets, it's two. And this, we knew at this point right here, when it dropped the second time, that that's when the bank, this was April 2025. The first time it happened was August of 2024. It was in this one here where the Japanese bank, the Central Bank of Japan, just said, okay, well, in order to fix this, to prevent this problem from happening again, we're going to have to print the money. So it's not going to be worth as much as it has been. They came right out and said it. So that's why we're seeing, like, in the last 220 days, 63% increase in the Japanese markets. Now, yeah, so it's a precarious situation for the entire world to be in. And
That's what I like about the Japanese.
That's what you like about them?
Yeah, they can't be dishonorable to you.
Right.
They have to tell you the truth.
They have to tell you, yeah, we're going to screw you over and all of the money that you make.
And watch us do it.
And you're going to watch us do it, and everything will be fine. And what's happening right now is because another reason why they had to print was because their bond yields are terrible right now. Or I should say they're declining. And so a lot of investors are saying, well, then we want out. And the reason why was because those bonds were actually secured by US Treasuries. So investors were like, yeah, we're going to take our money out of the bonds market. Well, bonds are guaranteed investments. So if the investor says they want out, government has to buy it. So it's a terrible, terrible situation for them to be in right now. And hence, we've got Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin dropped today. Bitcoin's been dropping for 3 days. Yeah, we hit up this. Oh, yeah, I remember talking about this. Good thing we're checking out charts, eh? So when we were down here, I said, we come back up and we could probably test this green line. Sure enough, we tested it, coming right back down again, looking to test the bottom of that pivot line, or of all these pivot lines at the 98,000, currently under 100,000. It opened above 100,000 today and has dropped below. Ethereum also falling, looking like it's time. If I know that there were in the Dragon Riders group, there's someone there that bought again when it was lower there on November 4th. So they might be getting ready to buy some more if it comes down. If it tests the next level that I see it really testing is these previous highs here. It might hover in this area here where there was some price action fluctuation there. But to me, this makes more sense for it to come back down and come to rest on 28.38 from here, which would be a good thing. ADA also finding a little bit of depreciation over the last few days. Still holding above that line, though, not creating new lows. Whereas Ethereum, I see it's not created a new low yet. But ADA has been able to maintain itself. Ethereum, even after that big drop, it wasn't able to maintain that. It formed a whole new low. At least ADA stayed above that. Doge, same idea. Yeah, I'm not gonna go through these other ones unless there are specific questions. I do like to check on these memes every once in a while and see where they're at. Yep. This is the state of the market right now. It's the quick overview. That's the quick overview. I'm thinking that we're going to see a big push here. This is the market capitalization of Bitcoin. This is a major area here. I'm going to draw a box around this. It's a major area here because of how much volume got traded in this area. Obviously, lots of buying happening here by the institutions. This was in April of 2025. When it rose back up above, coming back down and settling, this right now on that middle of the range. Now, we could very well come down and test some of these lows here, maybe even coming back down to the $1.7 trillion mark. But the reason why I like to bring this up is because this lets us know what volumes, what market capitalizations are targets for people for especially market makers. And so this zone being crucial like that could very well be the support that we need going forward. If it goes below that, market structure would tolerate this, and that coincides with Bitcoin, this price here at level C. Going down that far would be quite a rate, quite the race. 24%. That would take a crisis, because what we're at right now, this level, there's the same box where all that volume was. It's a lot there. Yes, market structure is C, but there's a lot of investment at this point. If it were to drop, a lot of the people that were at this point are probably just cutting some losses. They're probably saying, oh, I think it's going to go down, and they're going to pull, and that's going to pull that pin and drop that price down. It's a crucial point we're at right now. You can see it's testing that long-term trend line very, very well. Yeah. Don't have a whole lot to report today.
That was good enough.
Gives us a quick overview anyway. We could look at some of these here. This is all of the crypto. This is the dominance of the coins minus the top 10. So take the top 10 coins. So even Cardano is, I think, right now ranked 10. It would not be included in this dominance. We can see just how much that's been dropping. And yet, this last little spurt, see, we had these lower lows all the time. In fact, let's go ahead and this is an interesting pattern because this line here isn't nearly as steep as the trend line from here. We can even see that it went up that way, and now it's even gone and tied in with that average right there. So it's a very interesting pattern. A widening of a pennant it's confusing. No one really knows what's going to happen. It's a pennant. It could just keep on fluctuating between those 2 points.
Well, the further that pennant goes out into the future, the wider it becomes.
Yeah.
Which would create other trend lines, I presume.
Yes. Eventually.
Like if you went to the bottom, the low back on in 2023. Yeah, no, right there.
Yep.
Nope,
this
up.
one.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And then drew a line straight down.
Which way? This way?
Lows. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, keep going. No, I wasn't thinking about that low. That's you don't count that as a banker's candle, do you?
Nope, that's right. It's correct. This trend line here, I do have it lined up with that one simply because I was going by those highs there.
Yeah,
but you're right. You're right. This low here to these lows, that is the trend. Yep.
I mean, you could go back all the way to the beginning and set trend lines.
Oh, yes, totally. And that's where you open up the weekly, and then those trends govern the smaller, the lower time frames, right? Like here is where it was in January 22. So there's that that's the weekly chart.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically right now things are just hanging out. As much as that volatility is there. It is interesting though, like it is this expansion because we are drawing from this line on the daily chart simply because of how accelerated that drop was. It has force in the market. That there does create, and I know it's not it's a more advanced way of looking at it. That expansion of these two lines, the divergence, I should say, not necessarily expansion, the divergence of those two lines having such great contrast from each other is kind of like, who knows what's going to happen. This here is probably going to stay fairly strong. I would, yeah, that one there could stay strong. And
If you took that one way out into the future, it would connect with your top one.
oh yeah. Oops. Yeah, that's into September 29.
That's way out there. Yeah.
Not even, that's August 30 now.
2030.
Yeah, 2030. I would expect that when this actually takes off, that the dominance will rise. What it rises to, I don't know. But the high, that was already 20%. 20% of all of the coins were in the below the top 10. So that's another chart to be on the lookout for. We'll see more lead time with market dominance in Bitcoin, as when this makes a decision, that's when we'll have a greater idea of what the direction things is or will be. This is the total market capitalization of everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum. Currently downtrending, but technically just consolidating from within this market structure here.
If you pulled out, yeah, so you draw a line from that July low, yeah, straight up. Not straight up, but yep, that's right.
Yep. Good eye. That's a very good eye. That's what was drawn to my eye as well. That's the trend line, and right now market structure is basically where that is.
Now, do you call that a pennant driving that? So drawing across the top two highs there?
Yep. Yep.
What is that, a rising pennant?
Correct. Yep, rising pennant.
So if it breaks below that low line, which it could, it doesn't mean it's going to go low, but it could. But how do you read that on a rising pennant?
So yeah, if it breaks below, typically speaking, what occurs is similar to a pivot point, where when we break below, we're going to find a pivot point, probably in this area here, and then retest that before continuing to find a new low.
Okay.
Again, it's a technical analysis, 60% chance of it occurring if it drops below and isn't able. Sometimes it drops below like it just did right there, right? Drops below and then it is able to maintain itself. So it really depends on what happens with this next low. Is it going to just come and meet this again? Is it going to go below? Is it going to do it in a day, or 2 hours like it did before? Who knows? The high that I would say for me to think that, okay, yes, now we've got some more market cap coming in, I would want to see it get above that level there. That's 1.06 trillion. That's where the last high was. I would want to see it get above that and keep it before I would say, okay, yeah, now we have a reversal of a trend. Where we are right now, zooming in, if this were to be an A, B, C, the D would have to get up above that previous one right there.
Right. So what is the significance of this particular chart? Is it if you're an altcoin fan or? Yeah,
this is more so being an altcoin fan, getting an idea of the rest of the rest of the ecosystem. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two powerhouses.
Now, the lower you go in the, I presume, in the quality of the coins, the more risk and the more what's the word I'm looking for? Fluctuation.
Yep, absolutely. In fact, if you look at, say, for instance, we go into CoinMarketCap, basically anything that's mid to low market cap $1 million can wreck a day. Let's go into like page 4 here. So 100 million here. These ones, let's grab something that looks like it's not a meme. Oh yeah, okay, mantra. Yeah, this one here. This one actually I think is even dead if I remember correctly. Market cap. Oh no, there's still good volume. So out of all the market capitalization that's happening, it's 97.69, just under 100 million. But there's still every single day traded 41 some million. So there's still activity there.
What's our liquidity? Because how long does it take to get out of a position?
That's a good question. The volume, the majority of that volume is on centralized exchanges. So there won't be time. That'll just occur. That'll happen automatically. Interesting. So, but these ones here, if $1 million, that changes. That's a larger percentage of this coin than if $1 million goes in and out of Cardano or Monero, Doge. Yep. Good question. But yeah, I like looking at this one just because it kind of eliminates those two big beasts from the equation.
Could we look at ADA unless somebody else has something to look at?
Yeah, anybody can bring up questions. There's ADA.
Yeah, zoom out a bit, right there. So you got, nope, not that far. So you got those 4 little bumps.
Yep.
I find that interesting.
It is. Sure is.
It's
Triple.
Testing, and this is the 4th time.
Yeah, 4th time testing that same line. That tells me that, like, because if you look at the other ones, Doge is more, right? And it goes up a little bit every time.
Yep.
Injective, though, it didn't experience the same bouncing. It's just been progressively getting lower. Finally finding some support here, it looks. Well, no, not even. That's a new low too.
So where do you feel, Paul, when possibly they're going to turn around and come back up?
It'll happen after the crisis. There will be something like COVID in order to incentivize people to go online, to create more digital identifiers. And I think that the next one is going to be more serious, where it's going to be there's some sort of a cyber attack, digital attack, who knows, maybe an alien attack for the way that they're talking in the media, their language patterns. It's going to necessitate Americans and Canadians are going to have to, just like we had to sacrifice ourselves for the greater good by putting on masks so that we didn't kill grandma. There's going to be that same style of programming language used to justify everybody getting more digital identifiers. I think it's going to centralize around the stable coins. That's why Trump made such a point to start with that at the beginning of his term. And that Genius Act, being able to collateralize stable coins, that's a big move. Lots of cryptocurrencies have been saying, can't we be acknowledged as a security because it's actual real world value that's being put into these things? And they get denied all the time. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes along with the Genius Act and 3 new stablecoins get approved. Yay! It's indicative to me that the push will be at this next crisis to get onto those stablecoins to save the American economy. And I think there's also going to be programming language in the same way that, if you didn't get your vaccination, it was because you wanted grandma to die. There's going to be something similar to that, except I think in accordance to what we've read, Audrey Lynn would know. I don't know, Ian, have you read Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand?
No, but I've got The Foundation.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, The Fountain, rather.
The Fountain. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a long one, but it definitely covers that mentality that if you're not supportive of this, then you're unpatriotic.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that we're going to see that. I think we're going to see that because, I mean, just look at how I was talking about this last week, how NVIDIA's CEO, who is, he's the CEO of an American company, and but he's not American. I think he's Chinese, maybe Korean or something like that. And he is saying that, China has better AIs than we do, and that's a national threat, right? That kind of talk is what we will see precursoring the programming language that if you don't support American AI, then you're unpatriotic. Yep.
Well, there's some aspects too which I would not want to support anything from China because there's always a bleed into their central government. Now, obviously, we know what the NSA done thanks to Snowden, but I anticipate that the powers that be are tapped into something somewhere.
Yep.
Doesn't matter whether it's in China or US or Europe.
Yep. I agree. I think that, and I'm with you. Just because it comes from China doesn't mean it's better. It might be more efficient tech. It might be better in its parameters and what specs demonstrate. But I only trust open source stuff when it comes to final decisions on what I do with my data. Open source is better because then you have more jurisdiction over all the data. And I'm more excited about the open source models that have come from China, from the developer space, not the governmental space, not the capitalist, because they're a very strange country. They are capitalist, but all of the companies are owned by the government. You can go ahead and start a business, but that business is owned by the government, and it manages how much money you get to make. And so
which country is that?
That's China.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a hybrid of capitalism and communism in that the government owns the means of production, and you're allowed to lead it. You're allowed to lead whatever means you like.
But only to a certain point.
Yes. And so that actually brings up a good point, because there's that makes it what they call a meritocracy, where you get higher positions in the world if you have merit with the government. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily have to merit with other people. It's if you have merit with the government. Also, we see that kind of thing in education. The education system in America right now is very much a meritocracy, and I think it's going to be a major downfall. It's like, who do you have merit with? Oh, you got good grades. Says who? Oh, the professor that got told by the dean to pass you because of your skin color. It's like just a messed up system now. Your merit doesn't mean anything. It's like you got an A in, you got your A in medical science, right? That doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, in fact, to me, if I hear someone, got their doctorate and as a medical doctor, I think to myself, wow, you are really stupid. Like, especially if you've only done it recently. There's no merit in being a doctor when the entire industry is killing people on purpose. It's kind of like, I'm going to aspire to help my fellow man kill my neighbor. That's kind of how I start looking at doctors now, simply because of just how ridiculous this last 5 years was. If you're going in to be a doctor today, it goes back to that willfully ignorant. unless you are going into if you're going into your studies with the intention of taking whatever you can learn and leaving that industry and providing wellness services and facilitating people's health through alternative means, then go ahead and get that knowledge, because I'm sure it's good stuff. I mean, I think osteopaths actually have a good handle, a far better handle on medicine than medical doctors, even like, and they're very close to each other. The only thing that the osteopath doesn't do is like surgeries and stuff like that. They can prescribe drugs and stuff like that, but I've never met an osteopath. I've met a few, never met one that valued the healthcare system.
The healthcare system or their patients?
Oh, yeah, no, the healthcare system. Every osteopath that I've met has valued the health of their patients and facilitated great movement. It's a biomechanical approach to the human body. Which,
because during COVID, all I ever heard out of a politician's mouth is that they wanted to protect the healthcare system. I never heard one politician mention protecting individuals.
No.
I have a question about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Since July 15th, 29,000 plus Bitcoin have been brought onto exchanges from Wales.
Oh. Since it, how many Bitcoin?
29,000.
29,000.
So that's almost 30% of the Bitcoin market
Supply.
So that tells me that whales are positioning themselves to liquidate. And
if they're on exchanges, yeah, the other thing is that they may be wanting to use the exchanges for data. So this is something that I learned back in 2017-18. Exchanges are notorious for holding volume so that they can simulate volume, so they can simulate more volume. So it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, Ian, but this is their practice. Exchanges will create massive accounts and they will micro trade or even high frequency trade that balance. And what they're doing is that they're giving people the impression that there's more trading volume than there actually is. And now I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. You're right. That's another possibility, that they are getting ready to make a quick change.
Okay, now this information actually comes from AI. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's not coming from an exchange.
Yeah.
So, for instance, in July 15th, 18,000 plus Bitcoin were put onto Binance, Bybit, and Galaxy Digital. Never heard of Galaxy Digital. August 31st, 1,000 Bitcoin onto Hyperliquid. October 23rd, just over 3,000 onto Binance. November 8th, 3,600 onto Kraken. And November 10th, another 3,600 onto Kraken. So I'm just wondering, back in January 15th, 2,500 on the Binance. April 22nd, 1,800 Coinbase.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering, so that takes it definitely into those other ones, those earlier dates, beginning of the year, takes it up to easy more than 30% of the total market value of Bitcoin.
Yep. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm still of the mind that, see, all of the exchanges that you mentioned are owned by BlackRock. The only one that I'm aware of that isn't, that we have access to in Canada, is KuCoin.
How can you determine that? Because there's no indication of ownership of BlackRock they're all private organizations.
Yes, but they have stocks Like they still have stocks, and the like I know Coinbase for sure, Crypto.com for sure, Kraken, Gemini, and what was the other one? And what I do is that I look up to see who are their holding companies, because most of these companies are just brands. Like, yes, there's a company called that, but they're owned by another company. And so typically you can, and I've gone through that. This was probably a couple of years ago, where I was trying to figure out, okay, which exchanges are contributing to the holdings that the BlackRocks and Vanguards have in this whole operation, this great reset. And that's why I went to KuCoin and trade from there. Most of the time when I'm trading, I just use KuCoin, because non-custodial wallets everywhere else, and KuCoin's not. Oh, it's not a. They don't have globalists even a part of their work. I mean, they might.
Who owns KuCoin?
I can't recall.
Oh, that's fine. That's not an issue at the moment.
There was I can hunt that down. I'll find out. But yeah, and here's the thing, whales who have that kind of Bitcoin, they're not nearly as likely to use those exchanges. Those exchanges are not friendly for large amounts.
The exchanges I just named?
Yeah, like I know Coinbase, one of the Dragon Riders, fairly wealthy, well-to-do. She went ahead and got like the maxed out account and everything. She pays the premiums, and she can't move $50,000
in Coinbase.
Not more than 50,000 in one transaction to her bank.
Yeah, Coinbase has been elevated to, my understanding, elevated to a pretty high level in the financial system, and I think that's probably why they're trying to restrict movement of whatever.
Yep. So
what's your analysis of it
on Coinbase or the
Coinbase,
whales?
That inability to move.
That is indicative. I mean, it was just another bank, and I've been thinking to myself for a couple of years now, I think that exchanges are going to be the new banks, simply because, I mean, how else are you going to go back and forth between all these stable coins? Well, unless your bank's going to offer it.
Here's something that's been going through my mind, is that the next crisis, or one of the next crises, particularly with the movements that we've been seeing with the Genius Act, etc., is a collapse of a major cryptocurrency exchange. Because if what you're saying and what you said a moment ago actually adds to that narrative, if exchanges are simply using volume to balloon their own image, then it's possible to, once that becomes exposed, that's like China saying, well, we got 1.5 billion people or 2 billion people.
Yeah.
When in fact it's less than 500 million,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if that may be part of the process, part of the picture, part of the je ne sais pas.
Part of the setup. Yeah. Whales, if they're using exchanges, they're probably it's probably an institution, because whales who are into Bitcoin and they're holding that much Bitcoin, they're not going to trust the exchanges to hold it.
No,
especially in a crisis.
So do you think possibly that like the 18,000 on July 15th, that's a huge amount?
Oh my
But
gosh.
the other one, like 1,000, that's not too much, you know.
Yeah.
Um, that's $100 million, but 18,
Oh yeah, no, 18,000. That's now we're into the billions for sure.
1.8 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that could possibly, now that I rethink that, could possibly be an investment in the exchange.
Yep. Yep, that could be, especially if they are wanting to create. If I think some exchanges are going to create their own stable coin, to be honest. BNB did.
Well, BNB is not a stable coin.
No, but Binance, that token was what started USDT.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see more. I think we're going to see more of this. Yeah, money's going to be pouring into the exchanges, but it won't be the savvy investor. At least I hesitate to think that it would be. I can't think of someone, especially if it's a small number of wallets. That much money coming into an exchange. If it was a bunch of small people, I could see that being,
Sure.
someone put out a tweet that something scary is going to happen, and everybody goes to the exchanges to get ready.
Well, the July 15th infusion onto those 3 exchanges was from a wallet that was dormant since 2011.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, when you're talking about 2011, you're talking about a minuscule amount of $10,000 would have bought that
Right.
in 2011.
Yep.
So it's fire and forget kind of military stuff, just put it in and forget about it for the time being,
Yeah. It's right. It's not a whole lot of money at that time, but they clearly knew if the wallet was dormant that whole time and they kept their key all that time and they were able to just plop that onto an exchange after all that time, that's suspicious to me.
You think it's an institutional player?
I would say so. Again, if you have that much Bitcoin and you're ready to sell, you're not going to put it all on one exchange.
Well, that big one in July was 3 exchanges.
3 different exchanges of that amount.
That amount was divided between 3 exchanges.
Got it. Yeah.
Now, it doesn't say whether it's divided equally. Let's see here. Yeah, it doesn't say whether it was divided equally. It's the largest 2025 old gangster move. Half of 80,000 BTC stash. Half. It led to a brief 5% dip. So the August 31st 1,000 was swapped for Ethereum.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The
As
October 23rd.
As soon as it got to the exchange.
Yep. The October 23rd, 3,000 Bitcoin. Timed with shorts sparked a 3% correction. November 8th, 3,600 Bitcoin. Ongoing liquidation. Half of wallet unloaded.
Wow.
November 10th, another 3,600, different wallet. Newer holders, less ancient than OGs. So the November 8th was a 2011 OG.
Wow.
As was the July 15th.
Well, it could very well be real legitimate human whales. But again, the whales in crypto, if they're legitimate human being whales, not corporation whales,
Yep.
they wouldn't be putting it onto exchange. Not like that.
Well, the November 8th one has a name, Owen Gundon.
Owen Gundon.
3,600 Bitcoin onto Kraken.
All right. He's an investor. He's an angel investor, actually, entrepreneur. Known for early involvement in Bitcoin. He was one of the first people to hold over 10,000 Bitcoin. On November 13th, he deposited 2,400 Bitcoin valued at approximately $244.96 million directly into Kraken. Wow. So Kraken's probably going to be sticking around a while. People like this, they don't do that if they don't feel that it's a good place to put it. That if they that much money,
yeah,
they're not going to put it there if they know if they know that they're unless they know that exchange is going to be around. Wow.
Yeah, he's put in totaling nearly 1 billion into Kraken.
Wow. What else is he doing here? Okay, now on Founder Suite, he is definitely very involved. He has Mike Habib EA, a firm in California. Look at me going down a rabbit hole here. Tax representation. No, IRS power of attorney. Wow. Provides nationwide tax representation and relief services for individuals and businesses.
Sorry, I was not on. So what does that mean?
Oh, it's just a rabbit hole. That's just a rabbit hole. This gentleman here that Ian was referencing, who moved Owen Gundon, who moved a bunch of Bitcoin, a large amount of Bitcoin. I'm very surprised. I mean, Kraken must have high limits if he's moving that much over.
He's involved in a company by the name of Rebellious Foods. Develops plant-based meat alternatives for fast food.
Perfect. Yeah, okay.
He's also involved in freight farms, provides hydroponic container farms for urban food production, enabling year-round local growing.
Yep.
iSpeed Buy, a peer-to-peer marketplace platform for quick local transactions and instant buying experiences. Never heard of that. Lovely, another company, streamlines apartment hunting and leasing with data-driven matching for renters and landlords. So in the last three companies, he was the seed, capital, and early stage involvement. In Rebellious Foods, he was at the Series B investment stage, which means the company was already going when he got involved.
Yep. He also has a portfolio that includes Blink Trade, Ledger X, iSpeed Buy, Fold, Freight Farms, lovely, Interesting. Yep, it's a rabbit hole. It's who knows? You know what? Could very well be that they're getting ready to pull out of Bitcoin. Could also be that they just want to switch, right? Where they're not going to be taking it back to the bank.
Well, there's also also a possibility that they are utilizing lending features that have been developed within the crypto exchanges.
Yep.
So they're leveraging their dollars, in other words,
Yep.
for use in other sectors.
Yep. That's entirely possible. A lot of these exchanges have got very creative financial instruments like that. I know KuCoin, you can actually lend your money to provide liquidity for leverage trading and get interest back on every trade.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the security in that? Do you know?
Well, it's guaranteed because it's doesn't matter whether or not the trade wins or loses. The customer has to pay it, and it's factored into the trade itself. So typically speaking, depending on the season, investors there are getting 0.06 to 0.08% per day.
And that's not compounded. That's just,
well, they could compound it. Yeah, they could take that return and then just keep on lending with that as well. And I think it works out to like 7% a year or something like that, 8% per year.
well, that's 1.8 per month.
1.8 per month. Okay.
That's at 0.6 at 0.06. Did you say 0.06 or 0.6?
0.06. Yeah. 0.06 to 0.08.
So that's 0.06 is 1.8% a month.
Let me go see what it is right now.
So that's 21% a year.
Yep.
And that's just simple multiplication. No compounding.
Okay. Yeah. Current rates. Who's got the music going on? Oh, Audrey. Current rates right now. I'll bring that up. That's a good chart. This is definitely evolved. Oh, there we go. Currently, you can earn how you like, when you like, with flexible control over assets and profits. And so here's a list of current lending APY. It's currently based on demand through the bidding each hour. Most of it's 0.5%. Earnings. Something tells me though this isn't where that was. This was definitely you're lending on the market, but the earning. Interesting. Snowball. Haven't seen this one. So the risk level is advanced. So it'll be, so high yields with price protection. Interesting. So yeah, they've got, these exchanges. Look at this guy, this one here, with this done correctly, 41% per year. Oh no. Reference. The term is 7 days, so you can withdraw in every 7 days.
Okay.
Amazing. Yep. So this one here, it looks like the Shark Fin product. So this is a Shark Fin is a structured investment product by KuCoin Earn. It offers principal protection while allowing you to select a suitable price range based on your cryptocurrency volatility and price ranges. This way you can pursue higher yields while feeling safe with your initial investment. So bullish shark fin refers to selected price range, wherein the higher the settlement price and maturity, the greater the yield, blah, blah, blah. That makes sense. Interesting. Well, there we go. That's an hour. I know I didn't have much to talk about today. I'm going to go ahead and explore this second wallet and
Sure.
make that. Yeah, I'm going to make that tutorial on how to get started with the mining right away.
Awesome. I want to do that too. Thanks.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, if you want to hang out and watch me, you're welcome to. I'm going to end the stream and then I'll just stay here and then record a new record a
Sure.
new video.
Yep.